Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of our life seasons where we talk about the different seasons of life and how we grow through it. So in today's episode, the topic is on finding yourself, mainly the isolation period before your transformation. So like any other episodes, it's actually inspired by what happened to me yesterday. Yes, it's very recent for me as of, when I'm recording this podcast episode. It's a new season. I mean, not season. It's a new episode and it's a new chapter of my life. And I just kind of want to say that, just briefly talking about what happened. I finished my last day yesterday. And there's this path that I always walk back home and remember walking this path 1 year, for 1 year because every single time after I got off work, after getting down from the train, I would actually be walking this path home. And this path, I would call it my self reflection path. So every single time, I kid you not, when I walk down this aisle with my music on, I would always imagine myself being somewhere better. And I would always have, reflection time where I reflect on my day, I reflect on life. And sometimes it's good, there's excitement, there's joy, there's gratitude. Sometimes it's, not so good where I start to feel fear. I start to question whether the decisions that I make in life is actually the open inverted right decision, right? I'm still human after all. As much as I want to keep up this positive and this energetic side, the truth to life and the truth to my life is that there are parts where I'm just, sometimes I might feel a little bit down. So this path has actually given me a lot of, a whole lot of emotional like roller coaster ride, and it's very meaningful for me. So yesterday was even more meaningful because as I was walking down that road, I remembered myself speaking to the universe every single time and be like, dear universe, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel so lost. I can't even put to words like the amount of emotions that I was facing yesterday, because looking back at my past self, knowing that, there's so much that I've gone through, and just knowing that I've never, ever, ever, ever imagined myself being able to work in such a big company. And because I don't even dare to dream that I was able to work in this company because of the limiting beliefs that I have. And I am just so shocked. I think everything just hit me yesterday on my last day, because prior to that, I didn't have the time to sit down and process a lot of things. So I was just on the go working and completing my notice period until yesterday when I walked past that route. I was like, oh my god. Like, I was so emotional. There was so much emotions that I was feeling. There was anger. Okay, probably not anger, but there was like sadness. Then there was joy. There was gratitude. There was just insane, intense amount of energy and emotions that I've not faced in such a long time. And I was quite confused with what I was feeling, because I know I was happy for one, but at the same time, I felt scared. I don't know, like, just I think entering a different season of life and entering a different chapter of life, it's very normal to feel fear, and I'm still navigating through my fears. But what I want to say is that I one for this 1 year that I was walking down this route, I was lost. There were times that I was so lost that I start to fear for what's to come. I start to wonder if I still have the passion that I have. And this podcast in general, our live seasons podcast only happened because of the times that I walked down this route, because during this time I have nothing to think about. I just have my music and my own mind and it's honestly really therapeutic. I do enjoy walks, home, like this 15-minute walk home where I get time to myself, and podcast episodes just kind of come up this with the better days. And I just want to say that yesterday I this not really decided, but rather I was so shocked that I actually bawled my eyes out. Especially, I was actually tearing up before that, but after seeing my dad, because it was my dad's, time where he had to go to work. So I saw him, and when I saw him, like, we just kind of passed by each other because he was on a bike and I was walking, so obviously he was gonna be faster than me. So when I saw him, I started bawling my eyes out, because in previous few episodes you would know that I talk about the relationship that I have with my dad. I always seek validation from him and always wanted him to feel proud of me. He's someone that is really stern, like Asian parenting. And I always look up to him as someone that is like my mentor, right? We may not be like the closest, but I always respect him for the things that he have gone through since young. And seeing him, I had this feeling of, oh my god, he's finally able to be proud of me. And that brought up a lot of emotions, and that brought up so much tears. And I feel like looking back, I feel like these tears were just, my grieving period where I was just letting go. Like as these tears were rolling down, I just felt like I was letting go a lot of negativity. I was letting go a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, and just all like the negativity just flow through my body and just, exiting out into Mother Earth. And I felt like I was actually going into this new identity because after crying, I felt so much better. I felt so much lighter because it's been so long since I actually cried this hard, because like I said, like this year I've actually grown so much, and I've had so many of my manifestations coming through, and it's just been a really happy year. But of course, in life there's like the duality of life. I do experience times where I'm a little bit down, but not to the extent of me crying. I used to cry a lot prior to this year. I don't know why, but this year has just been amazing, nothing but amazing. And I would say that it's this bottle up emotions for 1 year, this fear and this confusion for 1 year, and everything was just let out yesterday, let out of my system, let out of my body yesterday, and just how I want to think of it. And honestly, it's been really satisfying because, like I mentioned, I've not cried for this hard for so long. And after that, I felt like a new identity was born. I have been trying to work towards my higher self, this person that is just so bubbly, so grateful, so, I don't know, someone that is just so posh and so calm that she's not affected by anything else. I think I mentioned like how my higher self looked like before. And I always wanted to reach this level of me, and I didn't know how I was gonna get there. But I think I came to a point whereby, like I mentioned, I just decided to let go and just trust that the universe is gonna get me there. And I didn't worry about, this identity coming through. I just felt like she was gonna come through. I just needed to be ready for it. And yesterday, I felt like I was more than ready for it after letting go all this negativity and all this fear within my body. And I just want to say that what I realized is that your new life is going to cost you your old one. Okay? That is growth. That is just life, right? This growth in life is, like I mentioned, the seasons of life, where every single season teaches you a different thing. So your new life is really gonna cost you your old one. So that was what happened yesterday, where I bawled out. Like, I literally let out a lot of negativity, and I felt like, I kind of rebirth into this new identity. And I would say that you gotta know that you can't stick to your old life if, whatever that you envision for your new life is really something that you want to have. Your old life has got to go, because the old beliefs that you have, the old identity that you have, got you this far. Whether or not it's good or bad, but it's not gonna get you to the next level, to your new life. So your new life can be lived by you right now if you decide to let go of your old self, your old beliefs, okay? Because we always think that our new life is something, it's a future thing, right? It's something that is so far away that it takes time to get there. But what we don't realize is that we can actually activate it like right now, by the decision of us telling ourselves that, okay, I'm done with my old self, I'm done with my old beliefs, it's time for me to step in to my new self, to act as if I've already achieved that new life, right? Because we always, if we put our old lives like as something that, we're currently going through, and we put our new lives as something that is only going to happen in the future, it would take you however long that you think you're gonna take to get to your new life. Okay, I'm hoping I'm making sense. But what happened to me felt so surreal, and literally I can't even imagine like this for anyone. But I felt so relieved that my entire body, because I cried so hard that it something just gets shaked out of my body, my soul, and I feel like I've actually rebirthed and I've reborn into someone that is so ready for new changes, right? I know that I've grown so much in this year, but there's so much more things that I need to learn, that there's so much more growth that needs to happen before I can step into my best self. And like I mentioned, healing and growing is just a journey in life. It's a never ending journey. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a never ending journey. It's an ongoing task. It's an ongoing, process. So might as well just enjoy the process. Okay. So I would say that, that part was what I wanted to cover. Your finding yourself includes you grieving through your old self, and during this isolation period, there has, there have to be some point whereby you just feel like you don't know what you're doing in life. It's very normal. Everyone feels that way. But as you're navigating through life and as you're finding yourself, I would say that this grieving part has to come, and it will come. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you are ready for it, it will come when you're ready for it. So just know that, to continue to learn and keep growing and look at things from a different perspective, um, and constantly put yourself in the shoes of your higher level self. How would your higher level self actually react to certain things, or how would he or she feel or be or act or portray herself, himself to be like. Okay, so another thing I want to say is that to always forgive yourself for whatever open inverted mistakes that you have made with your old self, because to move forward with your old self into your future self and your new identity, I would say that forgiving yourself is one of the biggest thing that you have to do. Because for me, I have to forgive myself for all the times that I'm talking to myself negatively, for all the times that I'm limiting myself with the stories that I'm trying to tell, that I told myself. And just to really be able to sit with yourself, and be like, I forgive you for making this decision. I forgive you for gossiping. I forgive you for being involved in a lot of drama, even though your higher self wouldn't. And it's okay. It's just part of us learning. And yeah, so that's just one of the biggest thing that you need to do, is to forgive yourself. And it's the hardest thing as well. But eventually, things will work out. It takes time for you to forgive yourself. And once you've done that, trust me, you're gonna be in such a different position, and you're gonna view life in such a different perspective, a whole new level of like perspective, whereby you're just looking at the world again in fresh eyes, as if you were just born yesterday. Okay, I'm not exaggerating, I'm not kidding. And I would believe that you've heard a lot of people talking about their experiences throughout their whole self-help journey, or their whole self-care, self-love journey, discovering themselves again, finding themselves again. Okay, so one of the things that I want to talk about is our life cycles is very much like the cycle of from a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? It starts from an egg, and then it goes into being a caterpillar, and then to a pupa stage, and then butterfly. So for us humans as well, we start off as an egg, right? So this is us, being our mom in our mom's tummy, and just growing through that 9 months. And then when we move on to being the caterpillar, which is when we enter this world, we start to take on beliefs as we grow, like beliefs that the societal beliefs, the societal norms. We start to realize how things should work, or will work in this world, because of like the people around us. And we take on identities, whether or not we fully resonate with it. We start to have our own sets of values and beliefs. We start to have our own experiences, our own limiting beliefs, our own personality, I would say. And this is what makes us different, right? This is us going through life. And that's when unfortunately, some of us do have like childhood trauma. Some of us do have a lot of beliefs, limiting beliefs, that we are still holding on, stories that we are still holding on up to today. So this is the caterpillar part. And then moving on to the pupa. The pupa is the most important stage of the butterfly's life cycle and our life cycle, because this stage is when the isolation starts. Okay, like the pupa or the cocoon, you may call it. We are actually in this cocoon where we are alone, right? Where from the outside, when you look at things, there might not be much changes. There might be no changes at all. But within, inside, that something major is happening. So this pupa stage is where we start to shift from, the outside to the inside, where we take a lot of effort. We put in a lot of effort to think about what are the mindsets that we are having, whether or not it's helping us, what are the limiting beliefs, and we start to heal from within. So this is when it's kind of like going into a cave and start to meditate, journal, and start to understand yourself and build this relationship that you want to have with yourself. Okay, it may happen in a very different stage for everyone. For me, it's happening right now when I'm 24, or rather 23, turning 24. and it's been happening for, I think I would say 2 years now, 3 years now. I don't know how long it's been happening, but I would guess that it's for 2 3 years. And for some people it might happen only at their 30s or 40s or 50s, or even when you're in your when you're 16, it might even happen. It's very different for everyone, like how it's different for every different species of butterflies. The period of time for this being going from a pupa to a butterfly is very different for everybody. It may take longer for you, it may be shorter for you, but just know that during this pupa period, no one is actually looking at someone else's progress, because like I mentioned, right, you're going more inwards, you're going within, you're healing within. You start to think about whether this personality that you've been having for many years now, whether you're still aligning with it. You start to slowly shift your world into the future world that you want to live in, right? The world that this butterfly is going to fly into. You start to shift all these little things, even though it may not seem like anything, but just know that your internal shifts are like the biggest shift that you can have, that will change the entire trajectory of your life. Like, I'm not even joking. Like right now, I think I'm slowly coming out of my pupa stage, so I'm able to talk about this. But just know that during this pupa stage, you may feel really, really lonely. And that's okay. That's why it's so important for you to start building this relationship that you have with yourself, so that when you go out and when you become butterfly and you go out into the world, you're not gonna be afraid of anything, because you know your identity. You know what exactly are your standards and what exactly do you want or expect in your life. You know your capabilities, your abilities, you know what you thrive in best, you know how to actually build this relationship with yourself so strong that no one else, or no one else's like opinion or the societal norm, is gonna bring that down. Okay, you are that strong, and that is how strong the butterfly is. So you may think that you may look at it this way. The caterpillar and the butterfly look so different. So that is how I see life in general. Being a caterpillar and looking at the butterfly, like I would think that the caterpillar is my current self, and then the butterfly is like my future self, or rather my higher version, where someone that I want to be, right? Someone that I want to become. Whether or not it's a better version. I mean, it definitely has to be a better version of yourself, but however that looks like, whatever success that looks like for you, is completely up to you, right? So I would say that to constantly remember this and to not rush the process, because in this pupa period, like I don't know about you guys, but for me during primary school, I think we are able to bring home like a caterpillar and start to slowly see the transformation of the caterpillar turning from a caterpillar to a pupa and then to a butterfly. I would say that this period of time, I remember seeing that pupa, and I remember being so frustrated at, oh my god, when is it gonna become a butterfly? When is it gonna become a butterfly? But if you shift that right now and think of it as, you being in the pupa, transforming, you will realize that you never actually rush through the process, right? Eventually you trust that you're going to become the most beautiful butterfly that you ever seen, that the world has ever seen. And that takes time. No matter how long it takes, and you trust that it's going to happen, right? You're not questioning whether or not you're going to turn into a butterfly. You're not questioning whether or not the trees or the wind is just going to blow you away, because the pupa trusts so much in the branch that it's sticking onto, that no matter what happens, it's not gonna fall, it's not gonna like ruin the whole entire process. It just enjoy the process in turning into this butterfly, right? It visualizes the future, it visualizes it becoming the butterfly that it wants to be, becoming the most amazing butterfly, and being able to set free from the cocoon. So I would say that if you think of things this way, and if you resonate with all these life cycles, I think that's when you start to realize that it's okay to be in this pupa stage right now. If you are in this isolation state right now, know that after this isolation state comes the stage where you become a butterfly. You flourish from this stage, because during this stage you learn so much about yourself, you start to heal. That's why you always hear that after a breakup, or after like a really bad incident or accident or whatever situation that you're in, there will always be something that you can take out of it. And after that, people become so much more appreciative of the people around them, or they become so nice to themselves. They are so grateful for the universe, for the things that has happened for them. And they will always say that because of this, I'm able to become who I am today. They hold their head high up, and then they just live the life that is so different from the previous life. So this is when, the caterpillar life and the butterfly life is just so different, right? Because right now, the butterfly has wings. The physical appearance is different as well, because when you're so confident with yourself, you carry yourself differently. The aura that you give, the energy that you give is so different that you attract, the same type of butterflies, the same species, or the same, butterflies around you, that you're able to build this beautiful garden. Okay, I know I'm rambling, but I'm just hoping that it makes sense, that this is like a, light bulb moment for you, because it was a light bulb moment for me when I start to, think about what I want to talk about on this podcast episode. And I started to relate to this butterfly life cycle. It's just so amazing how, Mother Earth or Mother Nature just works its way around things, and everything happens in divine timing, right? Like I mentioned, when the cocoon, or when the pupa is ready to grow into a butterfly, eventually you'll break free from the cocoon and you will start to fly, right? And just think of yourself as this butterfly after the isolation period, flying into a world that is so different, having a fresh pair of eyes just to look at how the world is like. You no longer start to see the world as a place where takes away things from you, takes away opportunities, where you're just so miserable in this world, surrounding yourself with people that don't align with you. Instead of looking at it this way, you start to shift your perspective and be like, okay, how can I learn from this? Because you will definitely still face failures, you will definitely still face struggles and obstacles, but this time round, you're gonna look at it and be like, okay, how can I learn from this? How can I move on from this? Like, what have I learned, or what are the skills that I have equipped myself with when I was in the pupa stage, to now being able to solve this particular challenge, or to go grow through this period of time and help me to become a better person. Because right now, as a butterfly, you're able to spread your wings and you're able to do so much more things that you can't do, or rather you don't think that you can do when you're a caterpillar. Okay, so I would say that this period is so 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 important, and just know that you should be looking forward to your pupa stage, because the pupa stage is really like one of the most amazing stage. Even though it may look like this, I don't know, it may look like nothingness. Just imagine yourself being in a cocoon. From the outside, it may look like nothing is happening. It may look like, oh, it's almost dead, right? Because you're just in this closed space. But just know that if you make full use of this pupa stage and this life, um know that whatever that is happening in your future is gonna be so 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 good. It's gonna be so worth it. Okay, that's why I keep mentioning, take the time to sit with yourself and to know yourself, to understand yourself fully, to know what you want, what you like, what you don't like, what can you accept, what can't you accept, and what are the standards that you have for the people around you, what are the type of energy that you want to put out there, or rather what are the type of the energy that you want to attract, what is the type of energy you want to put out there. What type of friends do you want to have? What type of life do you want to live? How visualize yourself living the life during this cocoon period. Just shut yourself out from all the negativity, from all the, do you think it's possible? I don't think it's possible. Like, why are you setting boundaries? Like, why are you being so, like, I don't know, why are you being so delusional? All this negativity, shut yourself out from it when you're in your pupa stage, because you can honestly get into your pupa stage right now. Like, at this moment, decide that you're gonna go inwards, you're gonna go within, and you're gonna start healing from within. This is when your pupa stage happens. And this healing journey, like I mentioned, it may seem really long, especially if you've just gone through a heartbreak, right? I feel like heartbreak is the most common period where people start to go into the pupa stage. And use this time to see this time as something that is positive, that yes, now I'm able to be alone, I'm able to finally sit down with myself and ask myself, what exactly do I want, like what exactly do I like start to please no one but yourself, because you're gonna be living with this soul, this self, for the rest of your lives. Okay, no one else, people come and go, but you're gonna be sitting with yourself. If you can't feel comfortable with yourself, if you can't sit down with yourself and have this conversation and start to heal from within, it's gonna be really 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 hard for you to navigate through life, because you're literally like fighting with yourself. You're literally fighting with your mind, because your mind wants certain things. Your mind, logically, you want to, be realistic, which I'll talk about, this word realistic. I don't really like this word, but I'm just going to use it for the sake of, you guys understanding what I'm trying to say. So instead of being realistic, think about how else you can be like whether or not being delusional is going to actually affect much. Because if being delusional means that you can start to live the dream that you want to live, you start to feel like everything is possible and you start to take action, why not? What's the worst that can happen, right? You take the action and then you open inverted fail, there's still lessons that you learn, right? You're back to square one. So what? At least you try. At least you don't die thinking that, oh my god, like I wish I knew this, or I wish I could have done that. What if I did that? I might be in a different position. I hate all these things, and hate is a very strong word, which is why I used it. I really don't like living life knowing that I have regrets. Okay, this is one of like my bigger life goals, is to not live life with any regrets. Is to try out every single thing and know that at least you tried, right? And you have gained so much knowledge and lesson from trying. So there's always no harm in trying. Nothing, whenever our mind starts telling us that, oh, this is the worst that can happen, you might be, broke, all right, rather you might be left on the streets, just know and always tell yourself to calm down, to ask your heart, what is the worst that can happen, what has been the worst that happened, and know that to make dive choices based on your heart, right? Of course there are logical things, which is why we don't touch like an open fire, right? Because we might hurt ourselves. These things are logical, but know that when it comes to making decisions for your life, we are always making decisions based on our past experiences, and our past experiences are based on the beliefs that we have previously in the past. We're constantly living in the past. So to live in the future, you have to start acting as if you're already in the future, so that your future will be your present. Okay, get it? Like you have to start thinking about how you want your future to be and how your future self would be like, so that you can actually start to step into your future self and live the life as if it's already happened. So know that there's always delayed gratification, there's always delayed there's a difference between our current reality and our future. So whatever that you're doing right now is going to affect your future. So might as well start to heal yourself and start to know exactly what you want, so that you can get excited about life and start to live the life that you've always dreamed of and become the butterfly that you want to be. Okay, because going through all of that, trust me, I've been in a period where I just felt like the whole world was against me, that I was just in this shit luck where everything just wasn't going right. I was questioning my abilities, I was questioning myself, I was just wondering if I would even make it out alive in life. So it felt like everything was just eating me alive, and I was just giving a piece of me to everyone and to any situation that I was in, until I decided that I was going to take control of my reality. I was going to take control of my life and be like, look, I am going to be the one that is dictating what my future is going to be like. It may not be like that for for you, because there will be people, there will be naysayers that are telling you that your life, the life that you want to live, is too crazy. You're being delusional. You have too high of a standards, just because they don't believe in it. And that's fine. That's their reality. That's their story. Do not ever, ever, ever take on someone's belief and reality just because that's what they believe. Because their reality, their belief, their story stays there. It doesn't have to come to you, and you don't have to accept it. Okay? Even like I'm talking about even people who are really, really close with you, like your friends, your family, whoever that is deemed as important to you, just know that you respect their life and story, but you have a different life. You have a different view on life. You have a different expectations of life, and that's okay. Like for me, I feel like I'm always very different from people, just because I have very high expectations of myself and of the people around me and of my dreams. I used to be called that, oh, you're just being delusional, like it's not realistic to have goals like that. Like, are you even able to do that? Because of my definition of success, there will be people that will come to me and will come to you as well when you start to change. But for me, what I think has helped me so much is that I stick through my goals and my beliefs. I always tell myself that I believe I'm gonna get there, and I do this like wholeheartedly. I don't manifest out of nowhere, and I don't just manifest by journaling or just by writing down, by scripting. Okay, while all these help, I think the foundation to it, and what I've actually seen help for my manifestation, is that when I truly actually believe in it, like it goes deep down within in my heart, and I feel the emotions like 100%, like through my body. I can literally feel it rushing through my body, and I feel like my body heat gets getting hotter, and I just feel so excited. My heart just pump a little bit faster, and I just feel so, like, I just feel jitters, right? I have jitteries, and I'm just like so happy and so satisfied in life, as if I have already gotten it, as if I've already manifested that thing, as if I am living in my future. And that's how I'm living right now. And I kid you not, so many things has happened, so many manifestations has happened, and I'm gonna be talking about this in the next few episodes. But in previous few episodes, you'll be able to hear, all the things that I've manifested. And just even for this podcast, like I always believe that I come into this podcast, recording this podcast, I always believe that I do my best. And this podcast episode is gonna reach whoever that it needs to reach. I'm not worried about the views. I'm not worried about, it blowing up, because this is just truly what I enjoy doing. And knowing that this is what I enjoy doing, and knowing that it doesn't have to make me money, is just so amazing that I get to do this every single week. I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this every single week, to actually have this platform to just speak what's on my mind. And hopefully whatever that I'm saying is of value to someone. And if it's not, it's of value to myself, because I do look back at my videos. I kid you not, I do look back at my videos and be like, oh my god, like that's so helpful. Like I mentor myself through videos of me talking, two snippets of me talking, right? And when I have time, I do go on to my TikTok. I do go on to our live seasons Instagram account and just scroll through all the reels. And I, up to today, it never fails to bring a smile to my face. And I always feel like, I would want to binge on my content. So I always believe that like-minded people out there, like yourself, when you're hearing this, or if you're hearing this, like you would want to binge, oh my god, you would want to binge on my content as well, right? So like there are so many people on this earth, and I just believe that you will be able to find someone that is just like you will be able to find someone that you can click well. You just have to know what version of yourself you want to live, and what version of yourself would you be comfortable living in for the longest for the long in the long run, for the longest period of your time. What version of yourself would you want to be, that you would be happy telling people that, look, like, you would want to introduce yourself to people, right? You will be proud of your work. Which version of yourself, is this? Like, how would she or he dress up as? How would she or he speak? Like, what are the words that you'll be using? Like, always act as if you're in your higher version, higher level self, and go from there. Never, but don't ever put her or him on a pedestal, right? Just know that it's achievable. Just know that, if by calling it your higher level self is too much for you, then just call it like your favorite self, right? A person that you want to be, a person that you always look up to. So this is like kind of the story that I want to tell, the isolation period into the transformation. So the whole butterfly theory, I kind of want to put it out there, because I feel like it's a very interesting theory for me, and I hope that it is interesting for you. And I hope that if right now you're in your isolation period, celebrate. Honestly, celebrate, because this period is when you are so 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 powerful, that whatever actions that you take, whatever mindset stuff that you pour into your mind and your body, it's gonna be so 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 magical for you. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna really just build you into this person that you've always wanted to be, to build you into this person that can manifest literally whatever that you want, because our desires are meant for us for a reason. It came to us for a reason, and you have the abilities and capabilities to fulfill it. Okay, always believe that the universe will only give you things that you are capable of achieving. So never ever feel like your dreams are too big, your manifestations or your desires are too big. Okay, it's meant to be in your life for a reason. It came to you for a reason. Just so just grab it so hard, and know that, start to think about what type of version do I have to be, like what type of um character, personality do I have to be, or what type of stories do I have to tell myself, or what type of beliefs do I have to have in order for me to step into that, favorite self, in order for me to step up and be the one that can get all my manifestations and desires. So I just kind of want to leave you with that. And yeah, like I mentioned, I'm so excited. It's the new month. Can you already believe it? It's November. And for me, life has just been a whole entire like roller coaster ride of emotions that I've never faced before, and I'm navigating life still. So I would say that I would love for you to be able to share, your isolation period as well. And if you're in your isolation period right now, please don't feel like you're alone, even though it may feel like you're alone sometimes. I do get it, but just know to rejoice, right? You're never alone. You're with yourself, and that's the only person that you need on earth to really just celebrate life with you, okay? Because you're gonna be living life with yourself for the rest of your life. So just make use of it, make full use of it, just so that you'll be able to sit down with yourself and be like, oh, I love me. like come to a point whereby you can say I love me, because right now I am at this stage where I really do enjoy being with myself. I feel like I'm like my own friend, my own family member, and I do enjoy the time that I spend with myself. And just know that we're gonna be able to accomplish so much together, right? And just know that when you put yourself out there in this way, and when you portray yourself as this person, living life as if you have already accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, know that all these accomplishments are just waiting to come into your reality, and it will happen. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy this episode and this podcast episode, and I want to see you in the next